this episode, we're going to talk about the Fiasco, otherwise known as a 1984 Bertone X19. So this is an Italian-made car. It was originally made by Fiat from 72 to about 82, and then they stopped production, and it was picked up by Bertone around 82. Started pushing out cars 83-ish. It's designed by Marcello Gandini, who was a designer at the Bertone group back in the, we could say, the 60s. So if we go back in time, the car was originally designed after the Bertone Runabout concept car. It was developed from the 1969 Auto Bianchi A112 Runabout concept with styling by Bertone from chief designer Marcello Gandini. So the Runabout was a concept car. I'll put a picture of it in here. And then Fiat picked it up and started making the X19. People always ask, what does the X19 mean? Fiat was making cars, the 127, the 128, the 124, the 131. The X is for the engines, the 1 is for passenger car, and the 9, it was the 9th passenger car developed using that specific nomenclature, routine. So instead of finishing the car and calling it whatever, they just left it with the X19, and that's the way it stayed. So this particular model, since it's a 84, it's a production date of 11/83, so it's a 11 of 83 for the 84 year model. Remember, when you start looking at the TV in October, they're going to be talking about the 2026 is coming out in October, even though it's still 2025. So this little car, it's a mid-engine sport coupe. The motor is in the back behind everybody else, and that's for weight distribution. The top comes off. It's a target top. So there's space for the top in the front trunk, otherwise known as the frunk. And then there's additional storage in the back in the actual trunk. And then I don't know if we call that a hood, trud, or a hunk, because it's not really a hood because it's in the back, but you know, you get it. That was officially 1 ton. GPS indicated. So storage wise, there's plenty of space down here for groceries, kids, because they don't fit in the car. And then here in the back, there's a smaller trunk. And I actually ate up a lot of space putting that fire extinguisher back there, but you know, I built this myself, so better safe than sorry. And then there's some deeper pockets on the side. The motor is a 4-cylinder, it's 1500 cc's. Motor's made by Fiat. It was designed by Lampretti. This model is 84 model, so it comes with the ELDEST fuel injection. It's got a timing belt on it, a regular distributor with a coil. 1980s technology, right? So nothing new. This particular motor was built by Vick Autosports, so it's had some work done to the crankshaft. It's got a performance cam in it, a performance head that had some work done, some bigger valves, some port and polish. And supposedly it should make around 100 horsepower. Factory horsepower was, they claim 75. Claimed 75 horsepower stock form, but I drove this car in its stock form and I don't think it was making 75 horsepower. I was lucky when I found this car. It was in College Station, Texas, and the original owner was 84 years old. She bought it in 1984 and put about 60,000 miles on it, and it was pretty well maintained. It has a spray over paint job on it that I've been working on. I think I've got about everything I can get out of it. This is the, we could call it the second evolution of the power plant. The first evolution would have been what happened when it came from the factory. This is my second go around on tuning this up. Third stage performance stuff will be the header with a modified exhaust and probably running a Holly Sniper on there. Try to get some more horsepowers out of it. This car's running the Vick Autosports Roadster wheels in black. Upgraded the front brakes to the Primo 1 brake kit, which is a vented disc with a clamshell type rotor instead of the original Fiat rotor, which was a solid disc. In the rear, it's running a vented disc, just like the stock form. It's running on stainless steel coil over struts that are adjustable. And when you're riding in this car, you have to keep your tongue behind your teeth, because when you hit a bump, you can bite your tongue. So keep your tongue behind your teeth when you're talking and you'll be okay. When I picked up the car, the interior was old red. It had red carpet, red door cards, red wrap around the steering wheel with a red thing around the shifter boot. I didn't like it. The carpet I couldn't save. The seats were black. They should have been red, but they were recovered with this black vinyl. I couldn't save the carpet. So I found this at New Work Auto Carpet and installed that. Those are Mini Cooper floor mats. They fit pretty good. Stock gauges. I added the air fuel reader, AFR, for when I was tuning on the fuel injection. It's a different steering wheel. It's smaller in diameter and it's a little bit closer, so you can get your leg in and out. Car's pretty low to the ground. It's a tight fit getting in and out of there, but this makes it a little bit easier. There's the 1183 production stamp, and this says 2,640 pounds. The earlier models were significantly lighter than this model. I want to say with some of the modifications I did, I may have lightened it up a little bit. The struts were significantly lighter than the factory struts. The brake components are lighter than the, well, not the brake components. The tires and wheels are 2 pounds heavier. But then I took some other stuff out to try and lighten it up. There's no spare tire running in there anymore. It's carrying 7 more pounds of coolant because it has a bigger radiator. But still, it feels balanced on the road. I still need to do some more tuning on the suspension. I can lower it just a little bit more. This particular model, known as the VS, would have sold in '84 for about $14,000, which is, you know, that was a lot of money back then. They made about 160,000 total. From 74 to 89, they made about 160,000 of these cars. 2/3 of them were shipped to United States, and it's estimated that there's about 1,000 that have legal registration about right now. You know, this is all from Wikipedia and Haggerty, so somebody else did all the work. I'm just quoting what they said. I've had this car for 2 years. The registration's expired on this car, so it probably doesn't meet their standard for legally plated, but I'll get it renewed here shortly, and it'll jump back on the roll. So 1001. They're not fast. Top speed is about 100 miles an hour. At least that's what I've seen. 103 so far. I got a little bit more tuning to do, and maybe we can bump that up. I think I'm running a little rich on the top end still a little bit, so it may be limiting. That may be limiting it. Have to pull some fuel out and see what happens. But in the corners, this thing is sweet. So I'm running a front and rear sway bar, and then the 15-inch tires are wider than the 13 stock. 13 was 5.5. Yeah, so the 13-inch tires, you were running a taller tire with more flex in the curves. With these lower profile tires, the car handles like it's on rails. I have not been able to overdrive this car yet, and I have tried a couple of times. I've tried a lot of times. I try almost every time I get in the car. Fuel wise, I'm getting about 20 miles per gallon, but I drive it like a pissed off teenager. So if I could take my foot out of it, I could probably get closer to 30, which is what it's supposed to get. But every time I'm in it, it's 6,500 RPM and shift and go and go and go, and then I've got fourth to the floor as long as I can, watching the mile per hour come up to try to see what my new personal record is. If you're looking to buy one of these cars, prices are all over the place. $5,000 for a decent running car, $1,000 for a not very decent, barely running car, $15,000 to $20,000 for a completely finished car. One of them sold recently for $37,000 on Bring a Trailer. So it just all depends on what the market is looking at the time you're looking. They're very easy to work on. They're semi-easy to work on. Parts are available all over the US. Vick Autosports, Auto Ricambi, Midwest Bayless, Spider Roadster are the main suppliers for Fiat Bertone specific parts, suspension products, engine parts. I picked up the rotors on brockauto.com. They didn't have a whole lot listed for this car, but they were only 25 bucks each, so I bought them. Parts are not expensive. You would think they are, but they're not. They're reasonably priced. If you're gonna attempt to get one and work on it, restore it, you're gonna have to look at the cooling system. Probably gonna want to upgrade the radiator. You're gonna have to check out the brakes, the clutch slave cylinder. The clutch and brake masters are underneath the dashboard, attached to the pedal box. The hard lines come in and flip up. The soft lines come in from over there and go in. If somebody's already done that, you just saved yourself about a week's worth of pain. I made a whole series of videos of the entire process of taking everything off of this car and putting it back on, so you can watch those for reference. Some of them are how-to, some of them are just me doing things. You're gonna need a book, you're gonna need a wiring diagram, and you're gonna need a lot of patience. But once you're done, you're gonna have some fun. So we're gonna get in this car and we're gonna go on what I call a spirited drive. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day.